Welcome back to another video. Epoxy grout formula and tile. Shower drain divot finish. Let's go. Alright, so I have the drain straightened out. You know, I put a tile there. I put the level to help me figure it out how to get it nice and straight. I also created my own, you know, what should be pea gravel, right? My own little rocks, the tile. And I made sure that I cut all the sharp corners. You know, the super sharp corners. This is pretty good. I don't need to go out and buy a bag of pre-gravel. I usually do when I have like multiple showers to do, but when it's only a shower or two, you know, I actually like making these little ones. Alright, and so I'll just grab like 3 of these, put them over this weep hole area, By the way, this drain was completely off leveled because of the way the pipes were set. I could only pry it so much, right? And so I also put some spacers down here just to tip it in the right direction. You have to make sure, guys, you gotta absolutely make sure that your drain is absolutely leveled as can be, right? You gotta level your drain. You can use a torpedo level or maybe a 2-footer if it clears, and make sure that you're leveled. All right, both directions, this way and that way. That is very important when you're doing shower mud beds. It doesn't matter if you're doing the traditional or this divot method the way I'm doing it. You should always make sure that these are level. Sometimes it's the plumber's responsibility. In this case, it's a different scenario because it's just one of those homeowners where we can just try to fix it ourselves. So we'll adjust it. But if this was a commercial job, I would have had the plumbers adjust the drain to where it's nice and leveled so that we can finish our process. So as you can see, just a few of those all the way around. Try to use just enough pea gravels. You know, I could take a few off if I really wanted to, but it's fine. This is just fine. I don't have a ton, and that's important. Alright, so now I'm gonna go ahead and get my thin set and just put it all the way around. Just like that. I'm gonna fix this so you guys can see a little better. Alright, you want the dry mud, the dry pack, the dry mud, the sand mix. You want the sand mix to bond. Alright guys, so as you see, now I have the thin set set around the divot, and my pea gravel is exactly where it should be. Just a few everywhere, right? Because you want to make sure that around the drain, the mud pack is nice and sturdy. So next, we're gonna grab the dry mud, good old sand mix, right? Make sure it gets in there. I'm gonna adjust the drain just a bit more whenever I'm done with the dry pack, as I'm finishing up the dry pack, because obviously it's moving around a little bit as I'm throwing the mud in there. I already have it in the direction that it needs to be. You know, it's this way. My level is gonna stay put because that's exactly how I need it to be. Now I'm assuming most of you guys know how to do mud beds with dry pack, right? And some don't, and for who don't, basically what you need to do is you fill in the area with the sand mix, right? And you want to add a little more, quite a little more than what it, you know, seems what it takes to fill in, because you still have to squeeze it down. In other words, pack it in using your trowel. And that's half the reason why they call it dry pack, right? So because you pack it in And the dry part of it is basically not like concrete. You don't mix it like concrete or thin set. You don't make it watery. You follow the instructions, right? I believe it's like 3.5 quarts. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. However, I only use 3 quarts per 50-pound bag, okay? And I did just confirm it is 3.5. It does say between 3.5 to 4 quarts. However, 4 quarts is way too much in my opinion, and so I only like to use 3 quarts. It's actually perfect, right? It's pretty much what you see right here. Now, as you see, I'm just basically squeezing it in this area, right? Because when you're doing the divot area, you don't have like a big section, right, to actually pack down. So I basically just add mud pack after mud pack, right? Because it kind of just, you know, fills in, and as you're squeezing it down, you'll start needing more, and that's just part of the process. It is what it is. You have to add more. However, you do want to make sure to add sufficient the first time, so you don't have to add too much more as you know, pack it in or squeeze it down. So as you can imagine, the pea gravel, you know, it stayed exactly where it was. You know, I didn't push it completely off. I just, you know, make sure that my mud went right over it without knocking out my pea gravel. To make sure that that I get the pea gravel in there nice and tight, you know, I keep stuffing in mud right here. Just keep packing in mud. It'll find its way in there. Now, since I'm dealing with a square drain, what I have to do is I have to make sure that it's in place where I need it to be without further moving it. Since I'm using a long tile, what I'll do is put the tile along the side of my drain, then I'll put the level on top of the tile so I can measure the distance between the wall and the level, which is what I'm doing now. I'll check the size on the right side of the level, then I'll come to the left side of the level, and hopefully it's the same size, which means obviously that my drain is where I want it. If I'm off by a 1/4 inch, then that would be the time to adjust it and confirm that your drain is in place where you want it. Of course, if you're dealing with a round drain, then you wouldn't even have to be worrying about this. But if you do have a square drain and you're dealing with smaller tiles, if your drain is not, you know, nice and straight aligned with your walls, you'll notice all the uneven cuts around your drain, which is what you want to avoid. Now that the drain is set, it's time to scrape off the excess mud around the drain till you get it down exactly where you need it, to where you can fit some thin set and the, you know, the surface of your tile is flush with the surface of the drain. I like using the trowel completely upwards so that I can easily scratch the mud, right? And then I'll use it normally to smoothen it out. Then you want to consistently check how much mud you've been scraping off. You don't want to go way below it, because then you have to be adding too much thin set, you know, or you have to just keep adding mud when you should just be working it down to where you need it just one good time. Since I'm using larger tiles, I'm going to give myself about a good 3/16 of an inch, right, so that I can make sure that I fit some good mud down there, because it's large tiles. But if I was using a mosaic tiles, I would, like, you know, a heavy 16th below the drain would be good enough for thin set. Maybe even, you know, a small tight 1/8, right? Because you don't want to be adding too much thin set underneath, especially around the drain. Just trust me, it gets messy, right? And now I'm gonna get the back part, and this is what I got so far, right? It's just a draft right now. So I'm gonna do the back part and get it straightened out, and then I'm gonna smoothen it all out as I wrap it up. As I continue to scratch the mud to try to get it exactly where I need it, I wanted to take this time to say, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe. This channel really could use your help that way. And I do have plans for this channel where I'm going to try to make some great tile guys out of it. I want to show people how to handle and master epoxy grout, how to do showers, how to do mud beds, how to do waterproofing, you know, and I want to do all that step by step in each of these videos that I will be uploading. It ain't like this. This is just random videos that, you know, regular random content that I'm throwing out there so that I can get a following base. Once my following base is up, I'm gonna go ahead and set up shop And so we're gonna start from scratch and give you every scenario possible and make you a real good tile guy if you aren't already. If you're already a good tile guy and you just stopping by to see what's up, hey, I highly appreciate that. Hit that like button and much power to your brothers. And let's continue. All right, guys, so as you can see, this is the finish. It's not, doesn't look that great, but believe me, it's good. Little discrepancy right there, but that's okay. The thin set's gonna fill that in. We are using bigger tile, so all that's gonna be filled in. It could have been like more smooth right here, like that little dry area right there, but it's not a big deal. Oh, you don't want to red guard that anymore. You need that to stay like that so that the water flows into the weep holes, right? All right, guys, and this is what it looks like after it's done. That's what it looks like right there after it's done. So this is how the shower turned out to be. Not bad. Not bad at all. This is just a barn. They didn't need this shower to be all perfect or whatnot. But, I mean, I just did my good work anyways. It's not like I'm going to do a bad job just because they don't care if it's a good or a bad job. It looks great. Everything lined up. I did the ceiling, 12 by 24s. Pretty, you know, this shower was pretty much all squared. And I made it happen basically. So the floor, as you can see, did some relief cuts there, and I did do the divot method, you know. So you can do divot method, works for all shower floors. You know, infilled everything already. There's no need to come back for anything. No punch work. On another note, this is where they're going to place a toilet, which is fine, I guess, but I find it quite odd how basically this goes right here, right? But like, don't you think the toilet's going to come out past that? So that's really strange, but maybe they're doing something I can't tell, or maybe it's just done wrong. Alright, guys, so the shower floor was pretty tough, right? Being that it's plank tiles, right? So they're what, 6 by I think 24. So that being said, at a, you know, in thirds or whatever, you know, that's a pretty tough one right there. So what I did was I started a full tile on this side, right? And then I put another full tile on that opposite side. Right, so if you can see that, so this is one full tile. Don't mind the relief cuts, pretend they're not there. This is one full tile right here against the drain. That's another full tile, right? At least the edge of it stops against the drain. And then I start the full tile from here back, and I also start the tile from there back. So it kind of gives you, you know, a reflection, right? So it looks kind of even, and also that helps me because my relief cuts, you know, everything should be even. So all my relief cuts fold accordingly and works out good. So that's what this is. Turned out pretty damn good. So acid washed everything, of course. Everything's completed, infilled everything. There's no punch that we don't need to come back, and you know, everything's taken care of.